And so we're going to actually cover the pricing right now through this ROI spreadsheet. So if I could ask you just to hold on. Right now I'm going to dedicate this to for any kind of technical questions and answering. It says, Edwin asks, what sort of system resources does the client take? Well, the client itself has a self-throttling mechanism. So it's never going to prioritize itself over any of the regular running applications. It's going to tone up or down according to what's available to it. All right? So it's intelligent enough. It's not going to hog any resources. It's just going to obviously prioritize itself against or non-prioritize itself against whatever's running in the background. All right? Let's see here. What else do we have here? Standard. Also, does the desktop client have a login prompt? Of course it does. The first screen, Edwin, as you can see here, will have a login prompt if I log out of it and log back in. It's going to actually ask me for those credentials. So this will give you that VPN access to, whatever account that you've created. By putting in the login name and unique password, that's going to bring to this portal system here whatever unique data that you want to view. Okay? As you can see in front of you. All the features that you have mentioned, Sandra, do they have an additional cost? No, these features are all baked in. The only extra added cost that we'll go over is going to be for Pulse, and depending on the size of the deal, we'll talk about whatever strategy we need to get that to you within that first year at either a discount or free. Depends on the entry point. So the partner specialist you're going to be dealing with, he may not have a unique way of pricing this out to you, but I'm going to leave that up to them to discuss that pricing. Okay? Backing up Windows directory. How successful is the restore of Windows 7? So this is a file folder-based backup. We don't recommend this system for backing up or in a bare metal fashion the programs or software applications. Now, you could create an image of this solution or an image of this box and send it over the wire. But you know what? I'm not going to advise that because it not only is going to be expensive, but it's going to take forever because that's going to be a large file. All right? I definitely recommend you can back up any kind of directory data files if you need, but backing up the software applications, I don't advise it. We get paid, you don't. So I'm just not going to say that's the method for it. Now, SOS, one of the exciting things about us right now in our company and its exponential growth is that we're creating an enterprise solution that will be available fairly soon that will do the imaging for you. But there are free services that are out there in the meantime, and I would say contact your local partner specialist, and they will let you know what they think as far as options go. Now, I haven't mentioned this before, but we're going to do a drawing for a Kindle following this, so I'm going to give out a code at the conclusion of this conversation, this webinar, so that you can call in, and register for that. Okay? So, any other questions? Can you set up users with different roles? Well, within Pulse you can, as far as the remote control panel, but within SOS, you can create as many accounts as you want. If you create one account with several different users and they all have the password, they're going to see each other's data. So, to alleviate that, if you have different factions of that business, just create different accounts with different passwords. You're not going to be billed any differently. It's just based on space. Next question. How do you promote and bundle your services? We're gonna cover that in the ROI discussion. So I ask you to just be just be patient on that. John asks, do you have a native SQL backup? John, we're actually working on the native SQL backup. Plenty of our customers and partners use the newest release of the product to back up SQL in live fashion. However, I've got to tell you what best practices are. Best practices in any live email database at this point in time is always to create a local copy first. With SQL, it would simply be activating that native system backup, which is my SQL backup, creating a local copy. As long as that naming convention doesn't change the name or location, we're going to see it as the same file once the initial goes up, and just take the incremental changes on a nightly basis and give you full and free version history on that. So very exciting. How does the service compare to Apple's cloud service? I'm going to have to defer that to one of our technicians, because Apple's cloud service, I believe, is more of a collaborative tool and hasn't even been released yet. So we'll cover that when the time comes. You can call in, Salt, and speak directly with a partner representative, and we'll answer that specifically. How do you promote and bundle your services? We're going to go over that as well. Okay, I'm going to move on unless there's any other technical questions for us. Okay, so let's get on to the ROI spreadsheet. What you should see in here is that Excel spreadsheet, and I've created it to really translate the scalability of this proposition. So in this, we're not only going to analyze cost to SOS, but we're going to entertain marketing strategies, okay, how you're going to deliver this and how much you can charge for the solution. So I've created several different levels of a type of client as far as a profile, which could at least, I think, cover everybody that's on this phone call right here. I'll start with the SMB sector, small to medium business. So the profile of a small to medium business would be anywhere from 5 to 100 users, okay? So I'm sure all of you have at least one to maybe several of these customers. I'm going to put in an opportunity level of 30, okay, just as an average, all right? Now, how much are these small to medium businesses backing up? How much data or how much space do they need on a routine basis? Well, typically, I see these small to medium businesses needing to back up anywhere from 50 gig to 150 gig. And I'm going to use the figure of 50 gig to accomplish what we need in this conversation, okay? And what is the specialized sector? Well, specialized sector is any vertical that has compliancy needs. So let's say medical health care, finance industry, law, government, education. Every one of those verticals will need some sort and form of compliancy statute met. You'll be happy to know that SOS will check off every one of those. I have not seen a statute we cannot comply with. So it will not impede on who you sell to. But the reason why I've broken them out to a separate category is that based on their compliancy needs and the lack of supply out there as far as providers, you can always charge a premium for this service. Based on the feature set that we offer as well, it's still going to be much cheaper than any other solution that's out there that accomplishes their needs. I'm going to put in the figure of 50 gigs as well. Routinely, these specialized sectors, because of their backup needs, are going to be more on an average gigabyte need, but I'll put 50 as a good benchmark. Now, I'm going to analyze the home consumer as well. Some of you may have home consumers, some may not, but we're going to cover some pricing strategies to hit them. I'm going to use 50 opportunities there. Typically, statistics tell us that the home consumer is only backing up somewhere between 5 and 10 gigs. Now, there are those customers that will try to back up every MP3 file and every picture they've ever taken, which may be up to 100 gigs, but technically speaking and statistically speaking, the average home consumer will only use 5 to 10 gigs. And that's what most of those backup providers are assuming when they throw out some kind of crazy unlimited plan, all right? Now, as far as overcoming those other providers that are out there, I'll be more than happy on a person-by-person basis to go over the strategies for overcoming those, because you get what you pay for in this industry. And if you want a headache, go with one of those for free, forever unlimited programs. There's just no such thing as unlimited data. So I'll put down here, let's see, 5 gigs as a starter package. Now, of course, the home consumer, their paying threshold will be pricing. So they're not going to pay any more than $60 to $100 a year for backup. We're going to create a package that's going to fit right into that model. The next category is small to medium business marketing. So I'm anticipating if you have a high level of comfort for how this product works, that we're going to market this to a greater figure of potentials. All right? Now, what's realistic within 1 year? If you go on a marketing campaign, you hand it out at the local store, if you do an email campaign to dead leads, or whatever your means is for attempting to market to new opportunities. Let's say 200 is a roundabout figure within 1 year that you can hit. Of course, they'll be at 50 gigs as well, so I'll put that in here. And we're going to analyze the conservative adoption rate. I'm pretty comfortable based on what you've seen as far as the backup tool. This is very simple, very reliable. So we'll analyze 25% for that take rate, which means 25% of the 30 we'll take. We'll analyze one of those specialized sectors, which means 50% of the two. The home consumer, we'll say, something like 25% as well. And then for the SMB marketing, we'll just say 5%, okay? So you see the figures here, and the reason we put in a percentage is to figure out what the best starting point is going to be for business here with SOS. You see that your gigabyte need within the first year is going to be right about a terabyte. Now, I got to preface this conversation by saying this is just a preliminary conversation based on a 1 terabyte purchase. We have deals that begin in the 10 terabyte range, and we have deals that start smaller than that, okay? So I would advise you to contact your partner specialist to figure out what the best starting point is for you. But we're going to base this conversation based on the most common starting point for most partners, which is right about the terabyte level. So pre-purchasing 1 terabyte, what does that mean? Well, first of all, it controls what your rate to SOS is per gig per year. And based on that 1 terabyte pre-purchase, you can see up here in the key above that there are yearly gigabyte rates there. Now, because you're on the webinar today, I'm going to come in with a very aggressive price right off the bat and give you a little bit of a break, just if you can refer to this price data sheet, which I will supply every partner specialist with, you can get access to that discount. So $4.30 per gig per year, which comes out to a division of 12, which is per month, 36 cents per gig per month. Now, I can confidently tell you based on my research that that price per gig is very, very attractive, not only in comparison to the other providers out there, but once you factor in the lack of licensing fees, which is that hidden cost many of those other providers hit you with, but also the lack of versioning costs, that is going to be a very, very attractive price point, and you're going to make a ton of ROI, all right? So the next step, how are we going to price this? That's really the meat of the conversation, the best way of bundling and marketing and selling this. Now, I'll tell you what, if you want to deliver this as just a simple storage sale, which I don't recommend because this isn't simple storage, obviously it's a backup tool, an archive tool, and a utility for remote access and share, you definitely should be delivering this as a managed service. But if you're going to deliver this as a backup account and just leverage it over to the customer and let them handle it, industry average on a per gig rate is approximately $1 a gig. So over here I'll write it, unmanaged gig equals industry-wide about $1 a gig a month, okay? Now, we sell it for $1.20 a gig a month. So definitely, that is a pretty unique figure right there. That's a pretty good average. Now, if you're managing this solution for a customer, which is how I recommend delivering this dish as a managed product, and I use that term managed very loosely because how much management is really involved with this? Not very much at all. The most labor-intensive portion is installing the product. Truly, that's where all the